It's showtime.
It always kills me when people like John Campea, especially at this year's CinemaCon in Las Vegas, where he couldn't stop having an orgasm towards Robert Meyer Burnett when they were discussing footage for The Running Man. It was absolutely hilarious. Oh my God, Rob. That Glenn Powell and his taut, tight, glistening physique had me aghast at myself. I really didn't know what else to do. And before you're asking, folks, yes, this is my mum's handbag, which she doesn't use anymore. I was supposed to sell it, but I guess now I might use it as a prop when I'm doing my impersonation of John Campea.
If you woke up today and thought it was the 1980s again, then blame it on Kung Fu Hot Dog.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, when I think about the 1980s, I think of Tom Selleck, that big bushy moustache of his, the red Ferrari, fast cars, fast bullets, mayhem in the skies, Cold War, America versus Russia.
I must break you.
Rocky is in serious trouble.
And that's just the appetizers, folks. Are you ready for The Running Man? Because when the stakes are high, the stakes are low. I know. And so is this review today for my version of The Running Man. But I gotta say, I love my sweet, sexy velveteen top, don't you? It really turned me on. Now, in this very convenient paragraph I've highlighted for you folks, The Running Man premiered at the Odeon Lux, should that be fucked, cinema in Leicester Square on November the 5th. The film received mixed reviews from critics, and I'm going to tell you why that is after this commercial break. The Running Man 2025, because what this film signals to me and to you is, do we need more remakes? No, we don't. Do we need a further readaptation of a book that nobody cared about from 1982 from Stephen King? No, we clearly do not. Which is why I'm glad that films like Back to the Future and Jaws will never ever be remade. You don't need to. And if that wasn't bad enough, folks, I watched this film at my local Cineworld in a 4DX cinema, which shakes you violently from side to side. Honestly, I could buy Vindaloo from the night before and get the same effect for far less money. Now, in this version of The Running Man, Ben Richards is fired by his boss, played by David Zayas, who you know better than I do as Angel Batista in the original Dexter series on Showtime TV. Down on his luck, Ben Richards heads back home in the slums of the USA, which is actually Scotland, doubling as the great US of A, into the loving arms of his wife. Well, she's not actually there yet. She just got off a night shift being a slutty waitress at a slutty dive somewhere in town, but I'll get back more into her in a few minutes. So while pondering his fate on where the next buck is coming from, he sees The Running Man being advertised on TV everywhere, so decides to enlist himself into the audition program for the network, as they're known as, who single-handedly picks him out as the Running Man, or one of 3 Running Man contestants, even though there's actually a chick in the group, and I'll talk about her briefly as well, because his anger, his rebelliousness, and everything else is exactly what the boss, played by Josh Brolin, not known as Damon Killian in this version, but Dan Killian. I think Damon Killian sounds way better. And now, when you compare the late great Richard Dawson as Killian to Brolin's version, honestly, there's no prizes for guessing who is the better man. It feels like Josh Brolin gives one of his more watered down performances. He literally came in, as Jeremy John says, for the paycheck. Yes, he's in the film for quite a bit, but for most of the proceedings, he's just gone off somewhere, probably shagging his wife in between long days of rehearsal, and only reappearing towards the end of the movie. Now, of course, as the insidious snake oil salesman, Killian makes Richards an offer he can't refuse. $1 billion to start a new life anywhere you want to in the world. And then, folks, that's where the fun begins. Or does it? Stop filming me! One common occurrence that I've seen in most reviews, folks, is that the pacing of the film is all over the place. Or should it be all over the pace, because Lee Pace also makes an appearance in this film. But of course, folks, there were two fundamental plot points here, or should I say things that slow down the movie that did not need to be here in the first place. One thing I did call out in my trailer reaction for The Running Man was the casting of Ben Richards' wife, some actress called Jamie or Jame Lawson. Oh, and by the way, the film doesn't stop reminding you that Ben is married to a black woman with a mixed race child, because we keep seeing her Polaroid picture here, there, and everywhere. Reminded me of when John Connor was looking at his mum's photograph from the original Terminator films. Yeah, and I'm sorry, but when it comes to staring at Polaroid photos, Linda Hamilton and Sarah Connor always wins the day. You got a good-looking Texan white boy like Glenn Powell who could have any woman he wants on the face of the earth. Yet when he's cast as Ben Richards in this film, directed by a very woke Edgar Wright these days, they pair him off with the worst person they could have possibly picked to act opposite him, and it's quite clear to see who is the more engaging character. Of course it's Ben Richards, and yet when this black chick starts jibber-jabbering, to quote Mr. T, in the air hole of Ben Richards, I can suddenly reflect myself to real stories now in the real world, where black men have a baby with a black woman and suddenly leave her to fend for herself, because honestly, if I had that much roaring in my ear going on, I would want to jump ship and go somewhere else as well.
Of a group of white girls who are sitting at their graduation engaged. And the question came up, well, why is there not the reality for black women? I know y'all not gonna like what I gotta say, but you know me, I'm gonna say it anyways. First and foremost, black women are above reproach.
The kid is sick, so of course now this motivates Mr. Richards to get a part in the Running Man show. But then later on in the second act of the movie, he runs into, wait for it, another black family in dystopian America / Scotland. And their kid, a daughter, also is sick with some sort of cancerous disease. So are you telling me, Edgar Wright, in this dystopian world, only black families get life-affecting illnesses? What about the white folks? Now, of course, folks, this brings me to Hitman, a film directed by Richard Linklater, released last year, I believe, starring Glenn Powell and his on-screen girlfriend, Adria Arjona. She is fantastically sexy. There's a scene of her in this film where she's wearing a tight red dress, and when she gets up, let's just say the camera and the dress really accentuated her beautiful Latina ass. But back to this pairing again, if I saw her as his wife in The Running Man, I would have bought it, because the two of them here have really great chemistry, sorely missing in this film. And yeah, back to that second act of the movie, when it really does come to a thunderous halt, because it's basically rinsing and repeating his own personal scenario from the first act. So why do we need that here again? It really slows things down. I know there's a purpose for it, because when you get to the last act of the film, it kind of goes back to this second act as to why it kind of ties up events, but it's kind of really lazy story exposition for me. So no, didn't need that.
So kiss my ass twice.
Right there is why you can win this game.
Now, the action in this film is fine. Is it brilliant? No. Is it as good as the 1987 Running Man? By a long shot, definitely not. It just falls flat on its feet. It's all very subdued colors. The filtering's all over the place. The action is okay, but Glenn Powell seems to be dodging flying bullets more than taking them on head first, if you know what I mean. And it kind of left me a little bit underwhelmed. I mean, the bit that everybody was going on about was Glenn jumping off a train onto the ground. I mean, it's cheap, it's cheesy, it's meant to be, I get it. But when you look at the original, where you got the big bad villain dressed as a Christmas tree, causing absolute mayhem and terror, you have nothing like that in here. And why is it that you've got the key #1 assassin, this masked dude who looks like Claude Rains from The Invisible Man, who's meant to be the best shot in the business, but yet when he takes a shot at a short-haired lesbian who's one of the running men of the title with a handgun and misses her repeatedly, yet later on in the film, with one dead eye on a sniper rifle, manages to get somebody killed instantly. I don't know why or how that was written this way, but then again, Simon Kinberg, one of the producers of this film, also the guy that gave us the 355 with Jessica I Can't Act Chastain.
We'll take it from here.
Was also one of the people that must have written this story, because it is absolutely left me scratching my head thinking, what is going on? So if you want ball blistering action, go back to the original Running Man, because that's rated 18. This film is rated a 15 in the UK, probably an R rating in America, but I wouldn't be surprised if it actually had a very gentle PG-13 to mask things over, because quite seriously, the action in this film was very underwhelming. The running time, unintended pun. So the original Running Man is only 101 minutes. This film is 133 minutes. And it felt like it as well, which is why the title of this thumbnail is Slogfest. It absolutely is. I mean, a couple of times towards the third act, it was 10 past 1 by the time I was looking at my timepiece again and again, because I thought surely this must be wrapping up now. That's never ever a good sign. Now you have this actress called Emilia Jones, who plays, funny enough, a imaginatively titled character called Amelia in The Running Man, and she is effing annoying as fuck. I nearly wanted to get a gun in the audience and shoot myself in my own head. And of course, there's a very funny heated exchange between Richards and Emilia in the car, where he accuses her kind, her gender, of being the worst drivers ever. And I couldn't stop laughing. But then later on, they're on this stealth-like jet plane going to the final destination, and she just won't shut up. At this point, I wanted the plane to crash and for the film to finally end. The way this film ends, it should have ended with the plane actually blowing up and Ben Richards becomes a martyr for all of mankind. But guess what? That does not happen. How does it end? Well, watch the film or try to download it, as I tried to yesterday but couldn't find a good torrent file anywhere, and then you'll find out for yourself. It's a real cop-out of an ending, and it goes on and on and on, longer than it should do. It really does outstay its welcome. So the final thing I want to say about this version of The Running Man is just watch the original from 1987, because oh my god, it is still a classic.
I'll be back. Only in a rerun.
I know Christopher Reeves was the original running choice for the movie, but because of scheduling conflicts and perhaps Reeves could not commit, they had to rewrite it for Arnie. And no disrespect to the Superman actor himself, but I think with Arnie in the role, it definitely gave the film a real cheesy tone. Jesse Ventura, Mick Fleetwood, Dweezil Zappa are all in the film, and they are great. It's colourful, it's bright. Imagine Arnie's character, his interpretation of Ben Richards as a precursor to Mr. Freeze. He's got the cheesy one-liners. He's hilarious.
Hello, cutie pie. One of us is in deep trouble.
The killings are gruesome and awesome. And in fact, if you go on IMDb to look at the amount of times network television had to actually make edits to make it a passable feature on late night television, will have you laughing from here to there. And I couldn't recommend this film enough. And honestly, when the new version comes out on physical media next year, will I buy it? No, because while Glenn Powell is fantastic as Ben Richards in this film, he's a lot more meaner, he's a lot more cursing with the old verbal diarrhea that comes out of his mouth. Honestly, I think, Arnie had a bit more of a charm to his character, and I guess that the only way to bring in a modern audience to a film that no one's ever heard of, unless you were born in the 70s or 80s, is to inject lots of profanities into a character to make them very relatable. But with Glenn Powell's version of Ben Richards, you do kind of like the guy for most of the time. He always has a point. He's always angry. He's always firing off on all cylinders. And I kind of like that, actually. But that's the only I wouldn't even call that a saving grace of this film. Next week, I'm looking forward to watching Sisu 2, which is going to be absolutely bombastic. And I couldn't think of a better way for me to round up 2025 than to watch that film. But oh my God, The Running Man, directed by Edgar Wokewright. Don't watch it. Wait for it to come out in streaming. Have a look at it if you dare to. And on that one, ladies and gentlemen, what will you be doing this weekend? Make sure you hit me up in the comments below, smash that subscribe button, and if I were you and if you were me, I can't wait to watch this again to see Maria Conchita Alonso, or is it Maria Alonso Conchita, in her lovely sexy jumpsuit, wobbling all over the place.
Yeah, my big mouth. We should have taken that trip to Hawaii.
I had the shirt for it, but you fucked it up.
Tune in next time, Space Freaks, and hear your doobry go ping in the next gripping installment of
Kung Fu Hot Dog.
Whatever you do, numbnuts, don't search for this term on Google. Got that?
Rolling down to Dallas, my wheels provide my palace. And off to New Orleans, or who knows where. Places new and ladies too. I'm B.J. McKay, and this is my best friend Dan.
I'll tell you what I think of it. I live to see you eat that contract and break your goddamn spine! Ah!